My best friend of 15 years sabotaged my wedding, and everyone expects me to just get over it. I'm writing this from my honeymoon suite, alone. My husband, God, it still feels strange to say that, is downstairs at the hotel bar, giving me space. We've been married for 72 hours and we've barely spoken. Not because we're fighting, but because neither of us knows what to say about what happened, about what my best friend did, about what everyone is telling me to just forgive and forget. They keep saying it was a mistake, that she didn't mean it, that I'm overreacting. But I found something yesterday, a journal, her journal, and it changes everything I thought I knew about the last 15 years of my life. I need to write this down before I lose my mind, before I start believing their version of events instead of what I know, what I now know is true. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the messiest, most psychologically complex stories the internet has to offer. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today's story is going to take you on a journey you won't see coming. This is about friendship, betrayal, and the horrifying realization that someone you trusted with your entire life has been working against you from the very beginning. This one's going to hurt. Let's get into it. The original poster, let's call her Maya because that's the name she uses in her confession, starts her story 15 years ago in the cafeteria of Lincoln High School in a small town outside of Sacramento. Maya was 14, a freshman, sitting alone at lunch with a book she wasn't really reading. She was the new girl. Her family had just moved from Arizona after her dad got a job transfer. New school, new town, no friends. She was doing that thing awkward teenagers do, pretending to be completely absorbed in something so no one notices you're sitting alone. And then someone did notice. Is that The Outsiders? God, I love that book. Johnny Cade deserved better. Maya looked up to see a girl with bright red hair pulled into a messy ponytail, freckles scattered across her nose like constellations, wearing a vintage band t-shirt that was 3 sizes too big. She had this smile, wide, genuine, the kind that made you feel like you'd been friends forever, even though you just met. "I'm Reese," the girl said, sitting down without waiting for an invitation. "You're Maya, right? You're in my biology class. You sit 2 rows behind me, and you doodle in the margins of your notebook instead of taking notes. They're really good, by the way, the doodles." That's how it started. That easily, that perfectly. Reese Callahan became Maya's entire world over the next 15 years. They were inseparable through high school, sharing clothes, finishing each other's sentences, having sleepovers every weekend where they'd stay up until 3 a.m. talking about everything and nothing. Reese was loud where Maya was quiet, impulsive where Maya was careful, chaotic where Maya was organized. They balanced each other perfectly. Reese had this laugh, this ridiculous, snorting laugh that made everyone around her start laughing too. She collected vintage records even though she didn't own a record player, just like the way they looked stacked in her room. She had a nervous habit of twisting her hair around her finger when she was thinking, always the same piece on the left side until it stuck straight out. They went to the same college, UC Davis, both studying communications, though they had wildly different career goals. Maya wanted to work in PR, something stable and professional. Reese wanted to be a photographer, to travel, to never be tied down to an office. They got an apartment together junior year, a tiny 2-bedroom place that was mostly held together by duct tape and optimism. After college, they moved to San Francisco together. Reese worked as a freelance photographer, weddings, portraits, events. Maya got a job at a mid-sized PR firm. They lived together for 3 more years in a slightly better apartment in the Mission District until Maya met Daniel. Daniel Chen was a software engineer, quiet and thoughtful. With glasses, he was always pushing up his nose and a collection of terrible puns that somehow became endearing after you'd heard enough of them. Maya met him at a friend's dinner party. He spilled wine on her white blouse and was so mortified he offered to pay for the dry cleaning, take her to dinner to apologize, and possibly relocate to another country to escape the shame. Maya fell in love slowly, carefully, the way she did everything. Daniel was stable, kind. He remembered small things, how she took her coffee, that she hated cilantro, that she got anxious in crowds and needed a hand to hold. After 2 years of dating, he proposed on a hiking trip to Big Sur, at the exact spot where they'd had their first real conversation about the future. Reese was thrilled. At least that's how it seemed. She screamed when Maya called her with the news, demanded to see the ring immediately, insisted on being maid of honor before Maya even asked. They spent hours looking at wedding Pinterest boards, tasting cakes, trying on dresses. Reese threw herself into wedding planning with the same chaotic enthusiasm she brought to everything. "This is going to be perfect," Reese kept saying. "The most perfect day of your life. I'm going to make sure of it." And Maya believed her. The wedding was set for October 14th at a small vineyard in Napa Valley. 50 guests. Simple, elegant, exactly what Maya wanted. Daniel's family flew in from Taiwan. Maya's parents drove up from their retirement community in San Diego. Everything was planned down to the smallest detail. Maya writes, "The morning of the wedding, I woke up in the bridal suite at the vineyard. Reese was already there, had been there since 6 a.m., she said, making sure everything was perfect. She'd brought me coffee exactly how I liked it. 2 sugars, a splash of cream, and a breakfast sandwich from my favorite cafe 40 minutes away. I wanted today to be perfect," she said. "You deserve perfect." I hugged her and told her I loved her. I told her she was the best friend anyone could ask for. I meant it. The morning passed in a blur of hair and makeup, champagne and laughter. The bridesmaids, Reese and 2 of Maya's cousins, helped her into her dress, a simple A-line gown with delicate lace sleeves. Maya looked at herself in the mirror and felt, for the first time in months of stressful planning, genuinely happy. "You look beautiful," Reese said, standing behind her. "Daniel's going to lose his mind when he sees you." The ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. At 3:30, Maya's mother came to the bridal suite, her face pale. "Sweetheart, there's a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The caterer. They're saying there was a miscommunication about the menu. They're saying someone called yesterday and changed the entire order." Maya's stomach dropped. "What? That's impossible. I confirmed everything with them on Monday." They rushed to find the catering manager, a stressed-looking woman in her 50s, holding a clipboard like a life raft. "I'm so sorry," she said, "but we received a call yesterday at 2 p.m. from someone identifying herself as the bride, Maya Torres. She said there had been a dietary restriction issue and needed to change the entire menu to vegan. We worked all night to accommodate the change." "I didn't call you," Maya said. "I'm not vegan. Most of my guests aren't vegan. Who called you?" The manager looked at her notes. "The caller said she was you. She had all the correct information. Booking number, guest count, venue details." They eventually sorted it out. The caterer scrambled to prepare the original menu, though it meant delaying dinner by 2 hours. But that was just the beginning. At 3:45, 15 minutes before the ceremony, the florist arrived in a panic. Someone had called that morning and canceled the flower delivery. They'd brought what they could on short notice, but it was maybe a quarter of what had been ordered. At 4 o'clock, as guests were being seated, the DJ announced his equipment had been tampered with. Someone had unplugged everything overnight, and in the process of replugging it, several cables had been connected wrong. It would take at least an hour to fix. At 4:15, Maya's wedding dress, which she'd hung carefully in the bridal suite, had a long tear down the back seam. No one knew how it happened. 1 minute it was fine. The next minute there was a 6-inch tear that would take serious work to repair. The wedding didn't start until 6 p.m. The ceremony itself went fine. Daniel's vows made Maya cry. Her vows made Daniel laugh. Everyone clapped and cheered. But the reception was a disaster. The vegan food no one wanted, eventually replaced by hastily ordered pizza, the limited flowers, the broken sound system that meant no first dance, no speeches, just awkward silence, and the ambient noise of people trying to make conversation. Maya held it together, smiled through it, told everyone it was fine. These things happen. It didn't matter as long as she married Daniel. And that was true. Marrying Daniel was the only thing that mattered. But later that night, after the guests had left and she was changing out of her dress, Maya found something in the bridal suite, a note, handwritten, sitting on the dresser where her purse had been. Some people don't deserve perfect. The handwriting was familiar, very familiar. Maya looked at the note for a long time. Then she looked at Reese, who was helping clean up, chatting with Maya's cousins, laughing about the chaos of the day. "Hey, Reese, can I talk to you for a second?" Reese came over, still smiling. "What's up, Mrs. Chen?" "God, that's going to take some getting used to." Maya showed her the note. "Did you see anyone leave this?" Reese looked at it, frowned. "No, that's weird. What does it mean, some people don't deserve perfect?" "I don't know, but look at the handwriting." "Okay, doesn't it look like yours?" Reese's smile faltered for just a second. "Maya, what are you asking me?" "All these things that went wrong today. The caterer, the florist, the DJ, my dress. Someone sabotaged my wedding. And this note, you think I did this?" Reese's voice went quiet. Dangerous. "You think I sabotaged your wedding?" "I don't know what to think, but this handwriting. Maya, I have been busting my ass for 6 months to make your wedding perfect. I have been here since 6 a.m. making sure everything was exactly right. And you're accusing me of sabotage because of some random note? Then explain the handwriting." "I don't know. Maybe someone's messing with you. Maybe one of Daniel's friends thought it would be funny. But I can't believe you'd think I'd do this to you. After 15 years. After everything." Reese's eyes filled with tears. Real tears. She looked genuinely hurt, genuinely betrayed by the accusation. Maya felt her certainty waver. "Reese, I'm sorry. I'm just stressed and everything went wrong, and I saw the note and I thought, you thought your best friend, the person who loves you more than anyone except Daniel, would destroy your wedding day? Really?" "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm being crazy. It's been a long day." Reese hugged her tight. "It's okay. I understand. You're stressed. But Maya, I would never hurt you. Never. You have to know that." Maya nodded against her shoulder. "I know. I'm sorry." But she kept the note. "So let me ask you something right now. You're Maya. Your wedding just got sabotaged in multiple, specific ways. You find a note with handwriting that looks like your best friend's. Your best friend who's been with you all day, who had access to everything, who knew all the details. But she's also your best friend of 15 years, the person who's been there for everything. She seems genuinely hurt by the accusation. Do you trust her? Do you let it go? Or do you keep digging?" Because Maya made a choice in that moment, and it's a choice she's going to regret for the rest of her life. Not because she made the wrong choice, but because she made it too late. Let's continue. The honeymoon was supposed to be 2 weeks in Japan. Daniel had been planning it for months. Tokyo, Kyoto, a traditional ryokan in the mountains. But after the wedding disaster, they'd scaled it back to 1 week in Hawaii. Something simpler, less expensive since they'd blown so much money trying to salvage the reception. Maya couldn't enjoy it. She kept thinking about the note, about Reese's face when she'd been accused, about all the things that had gone wrong. She started making a list on her phone. Caterer called and changed menu. Required booking number, guest count, venue details. Florist called and canceled delivery. Required less information, but still specific. DJ equipment unplugged overnight. Required physical access to venue. Wedding dress torn. Required physical access to bridal suite. Note left in bridal suite. Required physical access, knowledge of situation. Only a few people had access to the venue the night before the wedding. The wedding planner, the venue staff, and the bridal party. Reese had stayed at the venue overnight, said she wanted to make sure everything was perfect for the morning. Maya felt sick thinking about it, but she couldn't stop thinking about it. She called her cousin Jessica, one of the bridesmaids. "Hey, how's the honeymoon?" "It's good. Hey, random question. Did you notice anything weird the night before the wedding? With Reese?" A pause. "Weird how?" I don't know, did she seem off? Another pause, longer. Maya, I don't want to start drama. Maya's heart sank. What do you mean? It's probably nothing, but yeah. Reese was acting kind of strange. She kept making these comments. What kind of comments? Like, when we were hanging your dress, she said something like, "It's nice Maya gets to have this perfect princess moment. Some of us have to actually work for things." And I was like, "What?" And she laughed it off, said she was kidding. But it didn't sound like kidding. What else? When we were addressing last-minute place cards, she made a bunch of mistakes, like put wrong names at wrong tables. I corrected them, but it was weird because Reese is usually so detail-oriented with her photography work. She knows how to pay attention to stuff like that. It felt almost deliberate, but that's crazy, right? Right, yeah, crazy. After she hung up, Maya called her other cousin Brittany. Same story. Reese making odd comments. Must be nice to have Daniel. Some of us aren't lucky enough to find someone who can afford a wedding like this. Reese accidentally knocking over a box of programs, then seeming annoyed when Brittany rushed to help clean them up. Small things, easily dismissed as stress or jokes in poor taste, but adding up to something that felt intentional. Daniel found Maya on the hotel balcony at 2 a.m. staring at her phone. Can't sleep? I keep thinking about the wedding. Daniel sat next to her. Maya, I know it didn't go the way we planned, but we're married. That's what matters. I think Reese did it. I think she sabotaged everything. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. That's a serious accusation. I know. Do you have proof? Just a feeling. And some comments my cousins heard, and the note. The note with handwriting that looks like hers but isn't definitely hers. Yeah. Maya, Daniel chose his words carefully. Reese is your best friend. You've known her half your life. If she did this, and I'm not saying she did, but if she did, why? What's her motive? That was the question Maya couldn't answer. Why would Reese sabotage her wedding? She'd seemed genuinely happy about the engagement. She'd been involved in every step of planning. She'd thrown Maya a bridal shower, a bachelorette party. There was no reason, unless there was a reason Maya didn't know about. She started going through her memories differently, looking for cracks in the foundation of their friendship. There was the time in college when Maya had gotten the RA position they'd both applied for. Reese had said she was happy for her, but she'd been cold for a few weeks after. There was the time Maya had gotten promoted at work, and Reese had made a comment about corporate sellouts that had stung more than it should have. There was the time Maya had started dating Daniel, and Reese had said, "I guess it's just me now," in a tone that wasn't quite joking. Small moments, brief flashes of something that wasn't quite supportive, but never enough to worry about, never enough to question the friendship. Until now, when they got back from Hawaii, Maya did something she knew was wrong but couldn't help. She went through Reese's Instagram. She scrolled back through months of posts. Reese had been posting regularly about the wedding planning, pictures of them cake tasting, dress shopping, venue scouting. All the captions were enthusiastic, supportive. But then Maya noticed something. Every single photo of Maya, whether it was just Maya or Maya with Reese, had been posted and then deleted within 24 hours. Maya could see them in her tagged photos, but they were gone from Reese's main feed. The only photos that stayed up were group shots where Maya's face was partially obscured, or photos where Reese was clearly the focus. It was subtle. Most people wouldn't notice. But Maya noticed. She went further back. Found posts from years ago that mentioned Maya. Most had been deleted or had edited captions removing Maya's name. It was like Reese was slowly erasing her. Maya called Reese's ex-boyfriend, a guy named Tyler she'd dated sophomore year of college. They'd stayed friendly, and Maya had his number from when he'd helped them move apartments years ago. "Hey, Tyler, this is random, but can I ask you something about Reese?" Sure. Is everything okay? When you guys were dating, did Reese ever say anything about me?" A long, uncomfortable silence. "Maya, I don't think I should. Please, it's important. Tyler sighed. Okay, yeah. She talked about you a lot. Too much, honestly. It was part of why we broke up. What do you mean? She was obsessed with you. Like everything was about Maya. Maya got an A on her paper. Maya got asked out by this guy. Maya's parents took her on vacation. At first I thought she was just a really supportive friend. But then it started feeling, I don't know, competitive? Like she was keeping score of every good thing that happened to you. Did she ever say she was mad at me? Jealous? Not in so many words, but she'd make these comments. Like, Maya has everything so easy, or Maya doesn't even have to try and things just work out for her. And I'd be like, dude, Maya works really hard. And she'd get defensive. I don't know, man. It was weird. I always felt like Reese loved you and resented you at the same time. After they hung up, Maya sat in her car in the parking lot of her apartment building and cried. 15 years. 15 years of friendship, and she'd never seen it. Never noticed that Reese's support came with strings attached, that her enthusiasm masked something darker. She went home and told Daniel everything she'd found. So what are you going to do? He asked. I don't know. Confront her? Cut her off? I don't even know if I'm right. Maybe I'm seeing patterns that aren't there. Maybe I'm making this into something it's not. Or maybe, Daniel said gently, you're finally seeing what was always there. That night, Maya decided to confront Reese. She texted her, can we talk? Tomorrow? Reese responded immediately, of course, coffee at our usual place, 10 a.m.? They met at the cafe where they'd spent hundreds of mornings together over the years. Reese was already there when Maya arrived, sitting at their usual table by the window. 2 coffees waiting, one for each of them, both ordered exactly right. Hey, Reese smiled, bright and genuine. I've missed you. How was the honeymoon? Maya sat down. It was good. Reese, I need to ask you something. Okay? Reese's smile faltered slightly. Did you sabotage my wedding? The smile disappeared completely. Reese went very still. We're back to this? I've been thinking about it. All the things that went wrong, the access required, the timing, and I've been noticing other things. The Instagram posts you delete, the comments my cousins heard, the... Stop! Reese's voice was cold. Just stop. I need to know the truth. Reese laughed, but there was no humor in it. You want the truth? Fine. Yes. I sabotaged your wedding. Maya felt the world tilt. What? You heard me. I called the caterer. I called the florist. I unplugged the DJ equipment. I tore your dress. I left the note. I did all of it. Why? Because, Reese's voice broke. Because you get everything, Maya. Everything. The perfect job, the perfect guy, the perfect life. And what do I get? I get to be your supporting character. I get to stand next to you and smile and watch you have everything I wanted. Reese, you're my best friend. No, you're my best friend. But I'm not yours, not really. I'm just there. Convenient. Useful. Someone to plan your perfect wedding with. Someone to make you feel good about yourself because at least you're better than poor messy Reese. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you asked about my life? My work? When was the last time you actually cared about anything I was doing unless it related to you? Maya opened her mouth, closed it. She couldn't remember. Reese stood up. I'm not sorry I ruined your wedding. You deserved it. You deserved to have one day that wasn't perfect. One day where things didn't just magically work out for you. And you know what? It still didn't matter. You still got married. You still got your happy ending. You always do. She walked out. Maya sat alone at the table with 2 untouched coffees and finally understood. Her best friend had hated her for years. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. This seems solved, right? Reese confessed. She sabotaged the wedding out of jealousy and resentment that had been building for years. It's awful, it's shocking, but it makes sense. The friendship is over. Maya can cut her off and move on with her life. Case closed. But something felt off to me reading the story. And it felt off to Maya too, because Reese's confession, as devastating as it was, it didn't explain everything. There were still pieces that didn't fit, still questions that nagged at the back of Maya's mind. And when she finally found the answer, when she finally discovered what was really going on, it changed everything she thought she knew. Not just about Reese, but about herself. Hold that thought. We're not done yet. Maya did what everyone told her to do. She cut Reese off completely, blocked her number, blocked her on social media, told their mutual friends what happened. Most people were shocked, but supportive. A few tried to play peacemaker. Maybe she didn't mean it. Maybe you both just need time. 15 years is a long time to throw away. But Maya was done. You don't come back from that kind of betrayal. Daniel was relieved. He'd never fully trusted Reese anyway, he admitted. There was always something about her that seemed performative. Too enthusiastic. Too involved. Maya threw herself into her new life, being a wife, settling into the apartment she and Daniel had rented together. New routines, new patterns, a new normal without Reese in it. It should have felt freeing. Instead, it felt like she was missing a limb. She'd catch herself reaching for her phone to text Reese about something funny that happened at work. Then remember, she'd see something that would have been the perfect gift for Reese, a vintage Fleetwood Mac record, a photography book. Then remember, 15 years of shared history doesn't just disappear because you want it to. 2 months after the wedding, Maya's mother called. Honey, I ran into Reese's mother at the grocery store. Mom, I don't want to hear. Just listen. She said Reese has been really struggling. She's been seeing a therapist. She wrote you a letter but doesn't know if she should send it. I don't care. Maya, I'm not saying you have to forgive her, but maybe understanding why she did it could help you move on. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Reese's face when she confessed, the pain in her voice. You get everything. I get to be your supporting character. Had Maya been a bad friend? Had she really been that self-absorbed? She started going through old journals, old texts, old photos, looking for evidence either way. What she found disturbed her. Reese was right. Looking back at their text conversations from the last few years, it was embarrassingly one-sided. Maya talking about her job, her relationship with Daniel, her problems. Reese responding with support, with advice, with enthusiasm, but rarely sharing her own struggles unless Maya specifically asked. And Maya didn't ask often enough. There were photos from Reese's photography exhibitions that Maya had promised to attend, but canceled last minute. Birthdays Maya had forgotten. Times Reese had needed help moving, or dealing with a breakup, or facing a family crisis, and Maya had been too busy. She'd been a terrible friend, not intentionally, but through neglect, through thoughtlessness, through the assumption that Reese would always be there, always supportive, always available. The guilt was crushing. Maya wrote Reese a letter. Dear Reese, I've been thinking about what you said, about me not caring about your life unless it related to mine. You were right. I was a terrible friend. I took you for granted. I made everything about me. I'm so sorry. What you did to my wedding was unforgivable. But I understand why you did it. I understand the years of resentment that built up because I was too self-absorbed to notice I was hurting you. I don't know if we can fix this. I don't know if I want to. But I wanted you to know that I heard you, and I'm sorry. Maya. She mailed it. 3 days later, she got a response. Not a letter, a package. Inside was a journal. Old, worn, the cover faded and pages dog-eared. A post-it note on the front in Reese's handwriting. You should read this, all of it. Then you'll understand everything. Maya opened it. The first entry was dated 15 years ago, the day they met. Met a girl named Maya today. She was sitting alone reading The Outsiders and looked so sad. I felt bad for her, so I sat down. She's nice, quiet, a little boring but nice. Mom says I should make more friends, so I guess Maya counts. Maya kept reading. The journal chronicled their entire friendship from Reese's perspective, and it was not what Maya expected. Early entries were fond but distant. Observations about Maya, small complaints about her quirks, comparisons between them. Nothing particularly hostile. But around junior year of high school, the tone shifted. Maya got the lead in the school play. Of course she did. She barely even wanted it. Just auditioned because I told her to. Meanwhile, I've been doing theater for 3 years and got chorus again. It's like the universe just hands her things for existing. Senior year. Maya's going to Davis. I got into Davis too, but only because I worked my ass off on applications. She just wrote one essay and got in. Her parents are so proud. Mine barely noticed. College. Maya got the RA position. She didn't even really want it, just applied because the free housing was convenient. I actually wanted to be an RA and they picked her. I'm happy for her. I'm a good friend. I'm a supportive friend. But sometimes I hate being the supporting character in her story. Page after page, year after year, a chronicle of jealousy and resentment, carefully hidden behind a mask of friendship, but also love, genuine love. Maya helped me through my breakup with Tyler. She stayed up all night with me even though she had an exam the next day. She's the best person I know. I don't deserve her as a friend. Maya's dad had a heart attack. I drove her to the hospital and stayed with her family for 3 days. Seeing her so scared reminded me why I love her. She's not just my friend. She's my family. Maya got the promotion at work and I'm jealous, but I'm also proud. She works so hard. She deserves good things. I need to be a better friend. I need to be happy for her without all this resentment. The entries were a contradiction. Resentment and love, jealousy and admiration, all tangled together. And then Maya reached the entries from the last year. The ones about the wedding planning. Maya asked me to be maid of honor. I cried. I'm so happy for her. Daniel is perfect for her. She deserves this perfect wedding. I'm going to make sure it's exactly what she wants. Went dress shopping with Maya today. She looked beautiful in every dress. I tried on a few bridesmaid dresses and looked terrible in all of them. Why do I always feel like the ugly friend? Why can't I just be happy for her without making it about me? Maya's been stressed about work and the wedding. I've been helping as much as I can, but she barely seems to notice. She thanks me, but it feels automatic, like I'm the hired help instead of her best friend. I hate feeling this way. And then 2 weeks before the wedding, I can't do this. I can't watch Maya have her perfect day and pretend I'm not dying inside. I've spent 15 years being the sidekick, the supportive friend, the one who cheers from the sidelines while she wins at everything. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of being jealous and bitter and pretending I'm not. I love her, but I hate her, but I love her. I don't know what to do. 1 week before the wedding, I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to ruin it. Just once, I'm going to make sure she doesn't get exactly what she wants. I know it's wrong. I know it makes me a terrible person, but I need to do this. I need her to know what it feels like to have things go wrong, to not be perfect. The day after the wedding, I did it. I ruined her wedding, and I feel nothing. Not satisfaction, not relief, just empty and guilty. So guilty. What kind of person does this to their best friend? What kind of monster have I become? I confessed to Maya today, told her everything. She looks so hurt. I wanted her to hurt, but now that she does, I just want to take it back. I want to undo all of it, but I can't. I've destroyed the only real friendship I've ever had, and I did it on purpose. My therapist asked me today why I sabotaged the wedding. I told her about the jealousy, the resentment, the years of feeling inadequate. She asked me if I was in love with Maya. I laughed, but then I couldn't stop thinking about it. Am I? Is that what this is? Maya stopped reading, stared at that last line. Am I in love with Maya? She flipped ahead. The most recent entry, dated 3 days ago. I figured it out. I've been in love with Maya for 15 years, and I never let myself acknowledge it because it was too painful, because she's straight, because she never saw me that way, because I could be her best friend but never anything more. So I stayed close to her, supported her, built my entire life around her, and resented her for not loving me back, even though she had no idea, even though it wasn't her fault. I sabotaged her wedding because I couldn't stand to watch her marry someone who isn't me. I'm a terrible person. I've been a terrible person, and now I've lost her forever. Maya closed the journal, sat in the stunned silence. Reese had been in love with her for 15 years. All the jealousy, all the resentment, all the sabotage. It wasn't about career success or life outcomes. It was about unrequited love. Maya didn't know what to do with that information, didn't know how to feel. Angry, sad, betrayed in a whole new way. But also, it explained everything. The way Reese had always been just a little too invested in Maya's relationships. The way she'd made comments about Daniel that seemed off. The way she'd reacted when Maya had asked her to be maid of honor. Tears of happiness or tears of heartbreak. Maya called Reese. Hello? Reese's voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying. I read the journal. Silence. Why didn't you tell me? Maya asked. What was I supposed to say? Hey, I know you're straight and getting married, but I've been in love with you since we were 14, and watching you be happy is killing me? How does that conversation go? I don't know, but it would have been better than ruining my wedding. I know. I know it was wrong. I know I'm a terrible person. I'm so sorry, Maya, for all of it. Are you really in love with me? Or is that just another excuse? A long pause, then, I'm really in love with you. I have been for as long as I can remember, and it's ruined me. It's made me bitter and jealous and cruel. You deserve better than me as a friend. You always did. Maya didn't know what to say, so she said the truth. I need time. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I understand now, and that's something. They hung up. Daniel found Maya on the couch, still holding Reese's journal. Are you okay? Reese was in love with me, the whole time. Daniel sat down next to her. I know. You know? I suspected. The way she looked at you, the way she got when we started dating. I didn't say anything because it wasn't my place, and I hoped I was wrong. What do I do? That's up to you. But Maya, loving someone doesn't excuse what she did. Being heartbroken doesn't make sabotage okay. I know, but doesn't it explain it? Explain, yes. Excuse, no. Maya nodded and tried to believe that understanding was enough. Okay, but here's the detail that broke the whole case open. Here's what I couldn't stop thinking about after reading Reese's journal. Because yes, Reese was in love with Maya. Yes, that explains the jealousy, the sabotage, the 15 years of resentment. But it doesn't explain something else. Something Maya was about to discover. Something that would reframe the entire story one more time. Because the truth, the real truth, wasn't about Reese at all. It was about Maya and what she'd been blind to. Not just about her friend, but about herself. Maya spent the next 2 weeks in a fog, reading and rereading Reese's journal, thinking about 15 years of friendship through this new lens. She told a few close friends about the revelation, expected shock, sympathy, validation that she was right to cut Reese off. Instead, she got something else. Her college roommate, Jessica, different Jessica from the cousin, said, honestly, I always kind of knew. You knew. I mean, it was obvious, the way Reese looked at you, the way she talked about you. I just assumed you knew too, and were cool with it. I had no idea. Really? Maya, come on. No one is that oblivious. But Maya had been that oblivious. Or had she? She started thinking back through their friendship with this new information, looking for signs she'd missed. There were so many. The time in college when Reese had drunkenly tried to kiss her at a party, and Maya had laughed it off as Reese being drunk and silly. Reese had never mentioned it again. The time Reese had cried when Maya started dating a guy sophomore year, and Maya had assumed it was because Reese was going through her own breakup and feeling sensitive. The time Reese had said, I wish I could find someone who makes me feel the way you do, and Maya had said, you will, without understanding what Reese actually meant. The way Reese had always been just a little too interested in Maya's romantic life, always asking detailed questions about her dates, her relationships, her feelings. Maya had thought it was girl talk. Now she understood it was something else. How had she not seen it? And then Maya started thinking about her own behavior, her own feelings. Why had she been so devastated when Reese confessed to sabotaging the wedding? Yes, it was a betrayal, but the level of pain she felt, was it proportional or was it something else? Why had she kept Reese so close for so long, even when other friendships faded? Why was Reese the first person she wanted to talk to about everything? Why did Reese's opinion matter more than anyone else's except Daniel's? Why had she been so uncomfortable when Reese started dating Tyler? She'd told herself it was because she didn't like him, but now she wasn't sure that was the whole truth. Maya found her own old journals, started reading through them the same way she'd read Reese's. What she found made her sick. From sophomore year of college, Reese has been weird lately. Ever since I started dating Brad, she barely wants to hang out anymore. I miss her. I miss her more than I miss Brad when he's not around. Is that weird? From their senior year, Reese is my favorite person. I don't know what I'd do without her. Sometimes I think I love her more than I've ever loved any boyfriend, but that's just because we're so close. That's how best friends are, right? From 3 years ago, Reese met someone new, some photographer guy she's been working with. I hate that she's spending so much time with him. I know I should be happy for her, but I'm not. I want her to focus on me. That's selfish. I need to be a better friend. From 6 months ago, right after Daniel proposed, I said yes to Daniel. I love him. He's perfect for me. So why do I feel sad? Why do I feel like I'm losing something? Reese was so happy when I told her. She cried. I cried too, but I'm not sure why. Maya closed the journal. She thought about the way her heart had raced when Reese walked into a room. The way she'd always wanted Reese's approval more than anyone else's. The way she'd felt possessive of Reese's time and attention. The way she'd compared every boyfriend to Reese and found them lacking in small, specific ways. The way she'd built her entire life around having Reese in it, and how empty everything felt now that she was gone. Maya called her therapist. She'd started therapy after the wedding disaster and asked for an emergency session. I think, she said, sitting in the familiar office with its beige walls and comfortable chairs, I think I might have been in love with Reese too, and I never let myself know it. Her therapist, Dr. Park, nodded slowly. Tell me more. I've been reading our old journals, mine and Reese's, and there are all these moments where I can see it now. The way I felt about her, the way I needed her, the way I think I loved her, but I never questioned it because we were just friends, because I'm straight, because that's not who I am. Are you straight? Maya laughed, but it was hollow. I thought I was. I've only dated men. I'm married to a man. I love my husband. But, but, but I think I loved Reese too. Maybe more. Maybe in a way I was never brave enough to admit. And I think I knew she loved me. On some level. I think I knew and I used it. I kept her close because I needed that love, that devotion, even though I wasn't willing to give her what she really wanted. I wasn't willing to even acknowledge what we were to each other. Dr. Park was quiet for a moment. What do you think you were to each other? I don't know. More than friends, less than partners. Something without a name. Something I took for granted. And now I've lost her, and I realize I've lost the most important relationship of my life. And it's my fault. Not because I didn't love her back, but because I did love her and was too afraid to admit it. Maya started crying, big gasping sobs. I ruined her life. I let her love me for 15 years without ever acknowledging it. I let her be my everything while I built a life with someone else. And when she finally couldn't take it anymore and did something terrible, I cut her off. I didn't ask why. I didn't try to understand. I just left. What do you want to do now? I don't know. I'm married. I love Daniel. I'm not going to leave him. But I can't just pretend Reese doesn't matter. That what we had didn't matter. That I didn't contribute to everything that went wrong. Maya went home and told Daniel everything. About the journals, about her realization, about what she thought her feelings for Reese might have been. She expected anger, hurt, maybe a fight. Instead, Daniel said, I know. You know? I've always known you loved Reese. I just hoped I was enough anyway. You are enough. Daniel, I love you. I married you. I chose you. But you never really let her go, did you? Even before the wedding disaster, she was always there. In every decision we made, every plan we had, you were always thinking about what Reese would think, how Reese would feel. I was okay with it because I thought that's just how close friends are. But now what? Now I think we need to figure out what our marriage looks like. If it can survive this. If you can really be present with me when half your heart is still with someone else. They talked through the night. It was painful, honest, raw. The conclusion they reached was this. Maya needed to talk to Reese. Really talk. Not to get back together. Maya wasn't leaving Daniel, and Reese wasn't asking her to. But to acknowledge what they'd been to each other, to apologize for her part in the pain, to see if there was a way forward, whatever that looked like. Maya texted Reese, "Can we meet? I need to tell you something." They met at the same cafe, same table by the window, same two coffees waiting, but everything was different. Maya sat down and said, "I think I was in love with you too." Reese's face did something complicated. Hope, pain, disbelief all at once. What? I read my old journals. I've been thinking about our entire friendship, and I think I loved you the whole time and was too scared to admit it, too scared to question my identity, my orientation, what it meant. So I just loved you in secret, even from myself, and I let you love me without ever giving you what you needed. I'm so sorry, Reese, for all of it. Reese was crying. You can't say that. You can't say that now. You're married. You've moved on. You can't just... I know I can't make it right. I know I can't give you what you want. But I needed you to know that it wasn't one-sided, that what we had was real, that I failed you just as much as you failed me. So what now? Reese asked. Where do we go from here? I don't know, but I think we try to figure out what our friendship can be, with honesty this time, with acknowledgement of what we really mean to each other. It won't be what we had, it can't be, but maybe it can be something new, something real. What about Daniel? Daniel knows. We're working through it. We're going to be okay. But I needed to do this. I needed to tell you the truth. They sat together in that cafe for 3 hours, talking about 15 years of unspoken feelings, misunderstood moments, love that never had a name. It was painful, cathartic, necessary. They didn't fix everything. They didn't become best friends again, but they started to understand each other in a way they never had before. Maya writes her final update 6 months after that conversation. Reese and I talk now. Not every day, not the way we used to, but we're rebuilding something. It's fragile, strange. Neither friendship nor romance, but something in between. We're learning to be honest, to name our feelings instead of hiding them, to acknowledge what we mean to each other without trying to force it into a shape that doesn't fit. Daniel and I are in couples therapy. It's hard. He's hurt in ways I didn't fully understand, but we're working on it. We're learning to build a marriage that has room for the complicated truth of who I am and what I need. It's not the perfect love story I thought I was getting. It's messier, more real, maybe better for it. I'm also in therapy alone, working through my sexuality, my identity, what it means that I love Reese and probably still do, while also loving Daniel. My therapist says sexuality is fluid, that love doesn't have to be binary, that I can be bisexual even if I didn't realize it until now, even if I'm married to a man, even if my life doesn't look like what I thought queer identity was supposed to look like. I'm learning to be kinder to Reese, but also to myself, because we both made mistakes. We both loved each other in ways we didn't know how to handle. We both hurt each other, and we're both trying to heal. The wedding sabotage was unforgivable, but it was also a symptom of something much bigger. 15 years of unspoken love, unacknowledged feelings, two people loving each other desperately while pretending they didn't. We were both trapped in patterns we didn't know how to break. I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know if Reese and I will ever be close again. I don't know if my marriage will survive this. But I know I'm finally being honest about who I am, what I feel, what I want. And that's something. This story has haunted me since I first read it, because it's not really about wedding sabotage. It's not even really about betrayal. It's about the lies we tell ourselves, the feelings we refuse to acknowledge because they don't fit the narrative we've built about who we're supposed to be. Maya spent 15 years loving Reese without admitting it, even to herself. She built her identity around being straight, around being the kind of person who has a best friend and a husband and a normal life. And when the truth finally broke through, when Reese couldn't hold it in anymore, the whole carefully constructed story fell apart. But here's what gets me. Maya wasn't the victim in this story. Neither was Reese. They were both victims of their own inability to be honest, their own fear of naming what they felt, their own investment in performing the friendship they thought they should have, instead of honoring the love they actually shared. And that's the truly terrifying part. How many of us are living with unacknowledged feelings? How many relationships in our lives are more than we're willing to admit? How many people do we love in ways we've never named because naming them would mean changing our entire understanding of ourselves? The wedding sabotage was wrong, unforgivable even, but it was also the only way Reese knew how to make Maya see her, really see her. And in the end, it worked. Maya saw, she understood, she acknowledged the truth she'd been running from. Was it worth it? I don't know. Maya's marriage is damaged. Her friendship with Reese is permanently changed. She's going to spend years in therapy working through identity questions she thought she'd already answered. But she's also free. Free from the lie. Free from the performance. Free to love honestly, even if it's complicated and messy and doesn't look like anything she planned. This story makes me wonder, how well do we really know the patterns of our own lives? How many of our relationships are built on unspoken truths we're too afraid to examine? Have you ever had a tiny inconsistency, a feeling that didn't fit, a moment that felt too intense, a relationship that meant more than you were willing to admit, that led to a bigger truth about yourself? And here's the question that keeps me up at night. If you discovered that you'd been in love with your best friend for years without knowing it, would you want to know? Would you want that truth, even if it meant blowing up your entire life? Or would you prefer to keep living in the comfortable lie? I don't have an answer. I'm not sure there is one. But I think about Maya checking her feelings the way she used to check for second glasses of water, constantly, anxiously, looking for signs of something she can't quite name but knows is there. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Reese wrong to sabotage the wedding? Was Maya wrong to ignore her feelings for so long? Could they have avoided all this pain if they'd just been honest from the beginning? Or is this just what happens when love doesn't fit the shape we expect it to? If this story affected you, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the complicated psychology of human relationships. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, or someone who might recognize themselves in it. Take care of yourselves, be honest about what you feel, and maybe think twice about the patterns you've never questioned. I'll see you in the next one.